Welcome, everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about business coaching. I love to have coaches from the same niche come on from different walks of life, maybe different cultures, different places in the world. And we get to truly understand just how mindset is, because I can talk to one business coach today, talk to one business coach next week, and I can get a different perspective on business. I can get a different perspective on the actions that need to be taken from people. Yet sometimes when it comes to finding the right coach, we think, oh, is this going to be the first person I call? I can't tell you how many people they'll interview me when it comes to coaching. They're like, I'm going to interview you, Michael, to see if you're a good coach for me. I was like, okay, sure. I don't mind being interviewed. I interview a lot of people to work for me. What they find is that, oh, okay, cool. You are going to be the person that's going to maybe enhance my life, but your price is too high, Michael. I'm sorry. I just can't afford it. And so one of the common denominators between people not reaching their goals and their dreams is because they're afraid to invest in themselves. But yet many people don't realize that they invest in themselves the whole life, especially like when you leave high school and you go to college. Now, there's two reasons why you go to college. Number one, because you think it's going to give you the career and the money that you're going after, or because you were told to, not because necessarily like, hey, I want to go spend $150,000 on an education that I might never use. But you invested in yourself because you were hopeful. Yet many people will not invest in themselves today. And it's the mindset of people. People are living in scarcity. People are not living in abundance right now. But today, in today's episode, we're going to be understanding that abundance can be yours. We're going to be understanding that you can have peace of mind and you don't have to be feeling the hurt of financial pains anymore. So whether you're a coach, a consultant, a business owner, or maybe even a serial entrepreneur, we are going to be dropping so many golden nuggets in this episode with my guest, Jeanne Omlor, and myself. Welcome, Jeanne Omlor, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Michael?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, I have you on as a business coach. We're going to be learning about your history and then how you help people, businesses grow and prosper. But I always love speaking with business coaches because they always have an interesting backstory. Do you mind sharing a bit of your history with us today?
Sure. Okay. I hope mine's as interesting as the other people. Okay. The backstory is I was born in California. I grew up in Australia. I lived in Europe for 8 years. 6 of those years were in Paris. I have been a fashion designer, an actress, filmmaker, taught English later, food designer for a cordon bleu chef, executive recruiter, and a coach. And I moved from Paris to New York City, and I was there for 19 years. And that's when I became an executive recruiter while I was doing acting. And then I became a coach about 13 years ago when I became a newly solo parent. And I was a life coach, and immediately I became a business coach. And then I was a certified executive coach. I got online a little over 4 years ago. I was broke. I was a single mom, still am, a solo parent, I call it, in deep debt, 2 kids. And I thought, I've got to get online and crack this code. So I got online, plugged down 10K on 3 different credit cards for a program, which was okay, but it got me online. And I cracked the code on what's called organic marketing. That's unpaid advertising. And I got to $1 million in 17 months of getting online. And I'm now at over 3 million.
Congratulations. And it is a huge feat to go from so many professions to find what works. What was your mindset from going from the different locations that you have been to the different careers that you have worked in? Was it only about passion? Was it about a circumstance at the time? Or was it you were just trying to find your calling?
You know, it's interesting. I was just always really curious, just insatiable curiosity. And that's what made me want to travel. And I'm extremely fascinated by other cultures and people. That's what made me want to travel, to do cultural trespassing, I call it. And I did. I felt like I was the fly on the wall a lot of the time. And, you know, when I traveled, I'm very open. So people would invite me. One time I was in Egypt on a boat on the Aswan, and the Nubian guy comes over and he goes, I'd like to invite you and your friends to dinner at my home. So we were actually in the village eating dinner. He just said, I'd never invite people, but I just think you're so open. And his wife was there cooking the dinner. And he said, I've never met anybody like you. He goes, most of these tourists, they just don't ask. I was asking him questions about his life. And he said, wow, this one's actually interested. And he said, I've never invited anybody here. I'm very open about other cultures, people, their lives, maybe even more than my own life sometimes. So it's always really been going towards something. It's never been running away. It's going towards something. And I love change. So I'm fascinated with change. And traveling and going and moving in different places was not hard for me. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like, what do you mean? It's exciting. New places, change, new people. So that was this insatiable curiosity to keep moving and doing stuff. And I think people saw that as running away. I was never running away. I was running towards, running towards. I actually love change. When you move into a new place, that really foreign feeling when you first move into a new apartment or house, that feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. When I move, I'm like, oh, I just want to cherish this because I know in like 3 months, we won't have this new feeling. When you buy I've had one new car in my entire life. And it was like the new car smell, like, oh, I love this. Then that's going to end. So I like that new experience. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I've had lives as a cat, what number I'm on now. I hope I'm not on 9. I feel like I've had a lot of near misses and stuff. And I just feel like I've been through a lot of lives. And I never want to feel stuck in something, never stuck. And if I start to feel stuck, I'm like, oh, I don't want this. I don't want to be stuck. Like most people, I think they get stuck and they stay in their stuckness. I can't bear that. I just can't bear. So I'm like quickly getting out of stuckness. So that's it's always been just developing. And I've always spent a lot of money and a lot of time on my self-development. Like even before I was a coach, like I spent so much money on singing lessons and acting lessons and all sorts of stuff. And a lot of my budget in my whole life, most of it was on development, always. So that's been very important to me.
That is a good person to be, I think, because as you said, most people are stuck. They are just in their place. I don't know if you know, but like most people who are born in their state or their place of living, they never leave. They literally stay in their same town, their same state, and that is their life. Like my dog has been to more states and stuff than some people will ever be in their whole entire life. And it's just because they give themselves that mindset of this is where I was born, this is my circumstance, and that is where they stay. But you are extremely curious, but you also want to evolve. You don't want to stay where you are. And I know the work that you do helps people transform their life to get out of that stuckness, as you said, and then to look at development. You said development is something big for you, right? Where you are always focused on development, growing yourself, trying to be the best person you can be, whether it be actress, coach, you're trying to say, all right, there's always room for improvement. What type of mindset is that in the life of business coaching where there's always room for improvement?
I've always had this thing of life is just too short. That's always been my life's too short to stay stuck. I want to learn so much. But as far as business coaching, for me, I just want to help more people. I'm emotionally connected to helping people make money because I had a lot of hardship moving around and doing different things. And even after my marriage, I've had a lack of money in many different times. And some of it was just self-imposed because I was living, on a shoestring in Paris, right? And it's sort of fun at first, but then not so fun, right? But I realized there's nothing fun about lack. There's nothing fun about it. And if people weren't in lack, they could enjoy their lives more because then they're not anxious about paying bills. And that is not fun. And there's nothing virtuous about wasting your mind space about anxiety because you can't pay the rent and feed your kids or you're worried about the bills. So my thing is if I could help alleviate that for people, and at the moment I work with coaches and consultants, but I want to open it up later to more people, that's a gift that then you can be creative. You can actually get up and not worry about, whether your rent or your mortgage or the car payments or food or school or whatever it is you're doing is covered because that does mar your life. Because I know, because I feel like I wasted a lot of days of my life worrying in the background. I couldn't really enjoy my life. So I'd love to help people get peace of mind around that and really emotionally connected to helping coaches because I'm a coach. And there's so many coaches and consultants and certain service providers I help as well, who really are struggling. I mean, every day is a struggle and they're getting a client here, getting a client there. It's no way to live. And then they have to sort of pretend like things are going better than they are. And then there's that whole thing of that's not fun, that you're not really being authentic because you're pretending you're doing better because you want to tell the world, oh, my business is fine. A lot of people do that. And I feel sorry because that doesn't feel good. I have compassion for that. So wouldn't it be great if they were actually were doing well and they're like, wow, my gosh, my business is just working. I'm helping people. I'm making money. I'm actually being a professional coach and not like a hobby coach. There is a problem in the industry that we have people saying, I'm going to transform your lives, but their lives are not transformed because they're not making any money. And really, I'm going to say the M word, money, 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 money. People have problems hearing that. They think there's something wrong with the word money. Like, oh, you're not supposed to say the word money. Why? It's a gift. It's a tool. It's energy. It's beautiful. If you have enough, you don't have to worry about it. If you use it for evil, okay, not so good.
You are definitely right on track right there. When someone's trying to elevate their business, they can't lie to themselves. They have to be 100% honest. You have to look at things because if you say everything's okay, guess what? Your brain's going to be like, all right, everything's okay. And you're just not going to take the action. And for people who start businesses, you have to have extreme accountability. If something's not working for yourself, you have to find what can you do to make sure it works. And as you said, there is no shame in getting help from a coach, self-development. Heck, if I need something, for example, I'm in pretty good shape right now, but I already know if I get a trainer at the gym and someone I look up to, and I'm like, this person is who I want to be, I'm going to be in a different ballpark when it comes to physical fitness. I already know that because I'm giving myself that person. That person is going to hold me accountable to a higher level than what I'm already doing. And this is amazing what coaching does. It just looks at, all right, this is where you are. This is where you want to be. Let me help you get there. Why are so many people so averse to getting coaching?
Well, it's a human thing. Nobody wants to be seen as weak or needy or that they're not, that they don't have it all together. And I just feel sorry when I see that because I know when somebody's hedging and they're like, oh, I'm doing fine. I'm like, yeah, I know you're not. And I say that with love. I agree. I get coaches all the time. You know, it's a really good quality about me. I always ask for help. Unlike most people, I immediately ask for help because I know I'm collapsing time and there's zero shame. I mean, we all need to help each other. That's why we go to school. That's why we have teachers. What kid goes to school and says, oh, no, I'm ashamed of going to school because I'm going to admit that I need help? Nobody. So why all of a sudden, when we're older, is it like so shameful to get a coach or a teacher or anything? But it's not shameful to get a teacher. If you say, oh, I'm going to go learn something and get a teacher, oh, okay, that's okay. But as soon as we say coach, oh, I don't need a coach. So it's weird, right? And I don't know what it is. I think it's just this shame that people have said, well, I want to hire you, but I just feel like I should have figured it out myself. And I say, what? Then why do doctors go to med school? They should have just figured it out themselves, right? Like, dang it. You need to go to med school. You should have figured that out yourself. Huge shame. It's the same thing. It's human knowledge. You don't have it. Why should we have figured out business? And I think the problem is that there's been a narrative that business is so easy and you should just start a business and you shouldn't have to study. And it's like the one thing in our lives that we don't have to study for or learn is business. Why? We want to learn a musical instrument. We all know we have to practice and get lessons, right? If you want to go to college, we know you have to go to college and learn whatever it is you're learning, right? If you want to be good at sports, we know you got to get a coach, right? How come business is the only one where we should just magically know or we should be ashamed of ourselves? I don't get it. I've been pondering this question for 13 years. I still don't quite get it. Who told everybody you should just know how to do a business or you're a loser? I don't get it. It's human learning. So I think if people hear this, I hope they do, there's no shame in getting help. If you are an alcoholic, go to AA. There's no shame in it, right? That's just another example. So to me, I immediately ask for help. I have so many different coaches and mentors, so many, like for this, that, and then I'm like, wow, I'm really developing all sides. Why would you waste time when life is so short? Why would you waste time in not getting as far as you can? That's my question.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a cultural thing. Like here in America is very different than if we look at China, for example, right? We here in America, especially, we see things as, okay, myself, my happiness, my problem versus over in China. I'm not even talking about like you have to like China, right? I'm just talking about their values overall. They value family versus individual. So here we are so focused on the individual aspect of, okay, I need to be able to do this by myself. And if I can't do it, then I'm going to struggle through it. But then you're struggling through it, but you're not necessarily making any progress. So are you really doing things that are making your life better, or you're just exacerbating the problem? most of the time is exasperating the problem. We give ourselves a narrative, everything's good, and it's probably so far from the truth. When you do have to look at if you work together, and I talked about this in the last episode of a podcast actually, where you can ask for help, you can be in a better place if you work with somebody, if you work together. I have had coaches, I have mentors, I love mentors. And people, they come to me, like clients and stuff, like they'll, especially parents, because they want me to mentor their kids. It's so powerful because I remember when I got my first mentor, I was 18 or 19. His name was John. And, he was just a cool guy. He was very short. Like, to be honest, like he was so short. He was a business guy, finance. And I was like, how can I be this guy? And I learned from him. And he had a very strong mindset. I remember I got in trouble one time because I had a meeting with another mentor of mine. And apparently I was a little bit too straightforward with my passions. And so I didn't know business acumen was, oh, you have to sit and you just have to listen. I thought I was able to express myself. And so I remember after the meeting, he was like, just don't worry about it. You did nothing wrong. But in the sense of business, you learn. I went through the trial and error, and many people, they go through trial and error with money. Okay, I'm going to go start this venture. I'm going to go do this. And they realize, oh, money's not coming in. Oh, I'm struggling to pay rent. I'm struggling to do this. And then maybe credit card debt, maybe a lot of loans, whatever is the issue. I don't necessarily work with businesses in this regard. I do more mindset work. Your specialty, I think, is this. And that's why I have you on, to help people begin to dig their way out of the circumstance that they're in. What's step one?
Okay, so that's interesting what you say about debt. I have a different way of looking at that. I am glad that I had credit cards to use other people's money to build my business. And to me, it was not, oh, gee, I'm so sorry I'm in debt. I only used it because I got into debt, not because it was irresponsible, because I went through a divorce. Okay. So the fact I had credit cards was a blessing, because I would have been on the streets with my kids because I had no money. To me, it was like, okay, I'm mindfully using that. And thank God I can. And I built my business with credit. There's a way of using it if it is investing in your business. It's not always bad to use your credit card. I know that's why is Jeanne Omlor saying, because it's not. That's how I built. I'm at over 3 million now because I used my credit card to finance that at first, and then I paid it off. Okay. What's important is to figure out, what do I want? What do I want? Exactly. What do I desire for my business? And really be clear on that. Really get clarity. What do I really want? Not what I'm pretending I don't want because I can't get it. Like, be really real. Okay, I want this. Sounds crazy. That's what I want. Now I am going to do one of two things. And there's two types of people in this world. There's the type that say what they want, and then they make all sorts of excuses why that can't happen, and they don't take action. All right. Now that's harming you, because if you're going to do that, then you have to go for it. Or, okay, so that's the one person that's going to say what they want and then go, oh, I can't do that and I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. That puts them in a very painful situation, because they're stating they want something, but then they're not willing to do what they need to do. So they're in no man's land. So they're living with this, I want this, but I don't want it. So then it's just every day regretting that they're not going to get that, but they're not prepared anyway. In that case, you're better off cutting the cord and saying, this is what I want, but I am not prepared. I'm going to let it go, because that will actually be better peace of mind than the in-between no man's land. Then there's the other type of person that says, this is what I want, and I am going to do whatever it takes to get that, if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, or destroy your health. Those are the caveats. Barring that, now, we need to figure out what type of person. You can move from one to the other, because I used to be the person that said I want stuff and wasn't willing to do it. I knew that I was going to be willing, so I didn't give it up. I didn't, it was like, oh, it hurt for a long time because I want that. I'm not quite yet prepared, but I'm not going to give that up because I know I want it. So you can move. But if you know you are never going to be prepared to take risks or invest or do any of that stuff, give it up, because you do need to take risks. You do need to invest, and it's scary. And if you're not willing to invest, this is the deal. I know people that get on calls and they go, I want to make $1 million. I'm like, great. Now, we all know there is a proportion of what you need to invest to get something. It's just law of business. We know if you want to make $1 million, you're going to have to invest a percentage to get the million in mentorship, in development, or whatever it is. Okay. People come to me and say they want $1 million, but then they go, I'm not willing to get a coach. I'm like, well, you're never going to get your million because I've never met anybody that's made $1 million that has not gotten a ton of coaching and mentoring and never. I know many $1 million coaches. We have all spent a lot. I've spent well about 150K at this point in mentorship courses, all sorts of stuff. Do they all work? No, but all in all, I'm happy because I'm at over 3 million, right? I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm at 3 million. I had to invest that money. That's not how high achievers think. They think about investing, some of it will work and some will not. So if people are going to have an amateur attitude about their big vision, okay, you want to make 2K a month, sure, you're not going to have to invest that much, proportional. Want to make 10K a month, well, you're going to have to invest 50K, you're going to have to invest more. 100K, there's going to be more. It's always proportional. What people are not doing, they're not actually making an investment budget, which is what you do as a business person. You actually are supposed to have an investment budget. That's business coaching 101 for all businesses. But yet they never learned that. They just thought, gee, I'm supposed to go online or wherever. I'm supposed to get business with no outlay, supposed to be free. People should know what I do. They should flock to me. And then they feel guilt because they have to invest. So if they know they're supposed to invest, then it's normalized. I'm supposed to invest. That's business. So this is the problem, is this ignorance about how to run a business. So if you want to get to a million, you're going to have to spend more than $1,000 on coaching to get to the million, because then you're looking at $100,000 is $100,000 ROI. No, 100,000 times 1,000. Yeah. Who gets 100,000 ROI? No one. It's not normal. You're not going to stumble your way to a million, folks. That's what you want. You got to figure out proportionally what you're going to do, what you're going to invest. So you're going to figure out which camp you're in, or maybe you're going to figure out, okay, I wasn't willing, but now that Jeanne Omlor pointed that out, well, maybe I want to become willing. Or nope, never going to do it. I'm just going to give it up. So that's how I feel, because I've spoken to thousands of business people and coaches at this point, and I see that happening.
Debt is not a bad thing. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he used debt to get his money, his millions. I don't know if he's at a billion yet, but definitely millions in assets and money, property. It's because he understood that he can use good debt and not the bad debt.
Right.
Consumer debt is the bad debt. Like, hey, you want that Prada bag, or you want that nice dress that you don't need, that you have a closet full of? That's going to be consumer debt. That's going to be the negative debt that you don't necessarily want. We're talking about the good debt, people. I don't want you to think that, oh, I have a credit card and it's full of expenses that are just frivolous. I'm talking about, if you want to grow your business, you can use debt for that. Or we're talking about it. It's not so much of myself talking alone. Like I said, debt is not a bad thing. I want people to understand that. Then we get into the aspect of investing in yourself. I recently read a book. I forget the name of the book. It was talking about, it might have been 5 Moves Ahead or something, like Patrick Bet-Davis' book, Think 5 Moves Ahead or something like that. It talks about, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then, you're not going to have much progress. There was a story of a guy, he was going to see a coach, a mentor, and he was asking for advice. And the only advice the guy gave him was, how much money do you invest? And it was a simple question. And the guy's just thinking, well, like, I don't invest any of my money because, I have my bills, I have my family, whatever. He's giving all these excuses. And so what happened was, the mentor just said, well, don't come back to me until you can start investing $100 a month into yourself. Then come talk to me. And then a month comes by. He's like, all right, I'm starting to invest $100. I did it for 3 months straight. He goes, okay, now do 200. And then 300. And it kept going up until it's 1,000. And then he started to realize, you have to invest in yourself. And many people don't realize that. They think that, okay, I'm not going to invest in myself, but I'm going to get the best return if I try to save that money and use it on ads that don't work, use it on maybe equipment that I'll never use. I can't tell you how many people will get nice mics and cameras to never use it. They just sit there, because they think if they get it, they're going to have the action. How can we start to give people the action instead of just the idea of it?
Right. Okay. You're talking about what people used to do in the old days is get an office and buy Herman Miller chairs and think they were professional. I only buy equipment when I absolutely need it. Then I'm like, okay, I need this. I'm buying this. And that's how I don't buy frivolous stuff. I buy what I need. That's the thing. But as far as investing in myself, heck, like, I do all sorts of mindset programs and masterminds and one-on-one coaches and strategy coaches and marketing coaches and all sorts of stuff. But the problem I've seen, and you said it there, people basically they invest in the wrong. They think, oh, I'm just going to hire this Facebook ads person because they're going to wave a magic wand. So when you're investing in it's and you feel like it's going to be any kind of a magic wand, do not invest in it because it's too good to be true. Don't invest in it. Invest in somebody that has tried and true results, that it's not a magic wand. Like when people come into work with me, I go, it's not a magic wand. We do get amazing results, but you have to do the work. And I actually say, you have to do the work. And like, okay, I will say 3 times on a sales call, this works. Look what happened. Amazing. Like this woman came in and made 91K in 4 weeks working with me. She did the work though. I don't say, oh yeah, it was magic. It wasn't magic. It was amazing that that's possible, but she did the work. Okay. Still amazing, but she did the work. So I say to somebody, okay, you're going to do the work. Yes. Are you sure you're going to do the work? They go, yes. They're like, why are you asking me this, Jeanne Omlor? I said, because you're going to have to do the work. And they're like, wow, this is like an anti-sales call. I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure you're going to do the work because we want it to work. I don't want to get people coming in and they're like, oh, this is not what I thought. I thought it was going to be magic. Nope, not magic. We are magical in the results we get, I think, but it's not magic. It's not magic. There is some work. Of course, we shortcut that. Of course, I've done so much testing. I've really figured stuff out to shortcut this for people. But you still have to do some work, right? Less work than I had to do because I was figuring it all out while I was doing it. We just keep figuring stuff out. Just say, hey, here's a new training that's going to shortcut that. And we dialed it in so that my people don't have to do as much as I had to do to get my first sale. I had to have 900 conversations with people in Facebook and 18 sales calls to get my first client online. Who does that? Nobody. And I kept going and okay. And then I dialed it in. So my clients don't have to have 18 sales calls to get the first. Nobody's done that. One of my clients came in and some of them get it on the first sales call. They're just like, Jeanne, I got my first high ticket client. These are new coaches, like brand new. And it's like, I had one sales call and they said yes. I'm like, okay, great. I'm jealous. No, I'm just kidding. But, I'm glad they didn't have to go through what I went through. But it's also, they lack grit. See, me, there is no quitting. That's just not an option. It's not an option. So I know because I'm never going to quit and I'm going to keep going, it's eventually going to work. That's my whole mindset because I'm never going to quit. I don't mean not quit on a specific test because you got to test stuff and let stuff go. But what I mean is generally, I am never going to quit. So I'm going to figure this out, whether I have to do 100 tests, lose money here, do that. I'm just going to keep going. Most people don't have that mindset. I'm going to do this once or twice. If it doesn't work, I'm going to complain and then get another, get the cheapest coach possible and complain about that person. And then, it didn't work. But they've almost decided before that they're going to quit somewhere in their consciousness that if this doesn't work, I'm going to quit. You can't say that. That's a hissy fit to the universe. Well, that didn't work, so I'm not doing that again. That's not life. If you want to be on the top 1%, which I know you do, everybody, because that's where the money's made, right? You've got to just say, I'm just going to keep going no matter what, even if I have a bad experience with a coach or, this doesn't work. We all have bad experiences with all sorts of things in life, not just coaches. Okay. Relationships. What would happen if people went on a date and it was a disastrous date? Would they never go on another date again? Nope. They would never get married or have children if they did that. Nobody says that. They don't go, oh, gee, I had a bad date once. I'm never going to date again. They keep doing it, but not in business. In business, I had a bad experience. I'm burnt. I'm never going to do it again. Why? Again, very different from other parts of our lives. Again, why? I don't get it. It's like, because business is supposed to be guaranteed success, but dating is not, It's crazy, really.
It is crazy. And people are in the mindset of kind of wanting things. I always say that there are 2 types of people in the world. There's people who want it and people who kind of want it. And most people just kind of want it. Most people are not willing to put in the work. Most people, they want the glam, they want all the accolades, but they don't want the long nights. They don't want the rejections. They don't want the fear of failures to become reality. We have to trudge through those sometimes. And I know it's uncomfortable. I've been there. But the more you do it, it's almost like you callous yourself to it. And it's just like, okay, that wasn't so bad, because so many people are afraid of the boogeyman, but yet the boogeyman's not out to get you. And this right here, your success is not the boogeyman, right? It's an opportunity. And today, what we want to present you is an opportunity to grow your business, grow yourself. And the work that you do is giving people that opportunity. It's not going to be easy, but the results are there. It might not be the first call. If you're lucky, it will be. But the consistency, right? The dedication, that's going to, and especially if you have good directive, if you're just kind of walking around in the dark, you have your eyes closed, you might find the light switch. But if you have someone who knows where the light switch is, like yourself, boom, let's see the light, right? Let's get to where we want to go. And I think that is so powerful. That is why I love coaching myself. That is why I love having other coaches like yourself come on so they can be that light for many people that are struggling right now, that are trying to find the de facto method. And the de facto method is hard work. It is hard work, but you do have to be consistent and you do have to want it.
Yeah, consistent. You know what the rule is? Consistency and persistence is what makes people be successful. Because not one person who's successful was successful easily. Not one. Look at Elon Musk. Like, he failed so many times. That's just one example. Richard Branson, Oprah, she failed a lot at the beginning. The Spanx lady, that was not instant. She failed a lot. You know, the lady that runs that multi-million-dollar company, Spanx. Throw in there too, you know. So the point is, I don't even think people care about the accolades. I think they just want the money. A lot of people are like, Jeanne, I don't care. I just want the money. Still, okay, forget about the accolades. I couldn't care less about accolades myself. I just really wanted to make money, support my kids, and be good and help people. If I get accolades, it's like, really? Okay. You know, it's fine. I'm kind of an introvert anyway. So I'm definitely not doing anything to get attention at all. You know, like not at all. It's just like get clients, live a good life, and help people. Nobody successful got there easily. That's just, why do people feel like they should be the one to get there easily with no pain? It's just not realistic. I'm not dissing people. I'm just saying, you know, I thought that too at one point. I'm talking about myself, actually. I just thought, oh, well, it should be easier. And I started thinking, wait a minute, where'd the should come from, Jeanne? Why should it be easier for you? Because you're special? No, we're all the same. We're all exactly the same. You're me, I'm you. And there's going to be struggles that you just have to master your emotions around that and say, okay, I'm in business. It's not going to be easy every day. We'll have good days, we'll have bad days, disasters, non-disasters. And the bigger you get, the more disasters you have, by the way, more disasters, but you just get better at going, okay, another disaster. It's just mastering your emotions around it and being grateful. I'm so grateful where I am. If I have a problem, I'm like, I'm so grateful I could have that problem at this level. I think if you just focus on the gratitude and getting help and investing and just having a good attitude about it, a positive attitude, it goes a long way.
Definitely. And I want people to have that positive attitude, and I want people to get whatever they're going for, the money, maybe the accolades, maybe just the idea of success. How can people find you so they can get this?
Well, we're going to give you, for the show notes, I have a testimonial page. It's www.jeanneomlor.com/reviews/. We will give that to you. Also, they can reach out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's all Jeanne Omlor. You know, talk to me. I'm very accessible.
And I want people to know it is easy to reach out to people. Just a quick message, a DM, social media makes it so easy. And guess what? There is no handcuffs. We're not trying to make you feel bad. We just want to hear from you. So if you are struggling right now, if you're trying to make a change in your life, reach out to Jeanne. She's going to be an amazing business coach. I can already tell I love her energy on and off the recording. She is a gem, and I know she can make you so much more than your current circumstance. If you're ready to elevate, don't wait. I want to thank you so much, Jeanne, for coming on, spending some time, and talking about your work.
Thank you so much. You're very sweet.
All right, everyone. I would like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Jeanne Omlor and myself. As always, all the links are going to be in the description box below. I encourage everyone to check her out, learn more about the work that she's doing, and then begin to ask the question, is my business going the way I want it to go? And if not, what are you doing to change it? Sometimes you just have to ask. You just have to ask for help. Sometimes you have to be brave. You have to try something new. I can't tell you how many times I try something new, it doesn't work. And I say, you know what? It didn't work, but at least I tried. Sometimes people are just so stuck and they're just like, well, this is my current circumstance and this is where I am. They have bad habits. They have bad mindsets. They have bad advice that they got from someone, from themselves, from a book. Like, to be honest, I don't know where they get their ideas all the time. But sometimes just a simple notion of, if you want to improve yourself, you have to develop yourself. And one of the reasons why I became a coach, left teaching, is because I understand the aspect of what coaching is going to be in the future. Teaching is cool, teaching is fine, but especially here in America and the West, we have had the same educational system for almost 100 years. We are living in an outdated system. And guess what? The system is not helpful. We are having many adults that are coming out without the knowledge of finance, without the knowledge of successful health and relationships, because they just kind of went through the process of the system. But yet, we can look at the repair. The repair is going to be, well, let's find someone who has already done what I'm trying to do. We get a coach, but they're afraid to invest in themselves. They're afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to put themselves out there. But when in reality, if you put yourself out there, you're going to have a better return on your investment. Sometimes I think about some of the greatest in the world. Your Michael Jordans, your Kobe Bryants, rest in peace, your LeBron James. You can see these people excel not because they were just innately a genius in their field or their work. They said, I want to grow. How can I grow? Who can help me grow? And so they get a coach. Michael Jordan had Tim Grover. He had his coach on the Bulls, and he grew because of the tutelage, because of the advice, not because he was the greatest ever, but because he knew people could make him the greatest ever. LeBron James spends, I think, something to like a tune of $1 million or more on self-improvement, development, mindset coaching, life coaching, business coaching, physical enhancement coaching, because he understands in order for him to be the best ever, he has to have these coaches. So he's not afraid to invest in himself. But yet many people are afraid to invest in themselves. Many people are afraid to go after the life that they want because they feel like there's not enough. They have the scarcity type mindset. They're afraid to take action. And if they are going to be afraid to take action at every point, they're going to be afraid to take action at the most pivotal times in their life. Sometimes you just need to get a mentor. You have to get a coach. You have to get someone to help you navigate through things. I know if you try to be that lone warrior, you can get there, right? It's just how long is it going to take you to get there? If we look at someone who has become successful, how long did it take them to get successful? Typically, people who are successful, they have mentors, they have coaches, they have invested in themselves because the idea of investing is about growth. It's not so much of I'm giving away something that I don't have, but yet many people, they have that mindset. Many people, they're stuck in how they're living currently. What I'm offering to you today is an opportunity to get out of that place of thinking you have to fight alone. This whole week of episodes on the podcast has been helping people or helping you, the audience, understand that you can go alone on this path and it can be great. Maybe you're successful. Maybe you didn't need any help. Maybe you're self-made. But in reality, most people are not self-made. Most people are going to rely on someone to give them a boost, to give them a step up. If you can do that, you're going to get to where you want to be a lot quicker, a lot sooner. And you're going to mitigate a lot of the hurdles that you would be facing if you did it by yourself. I always tell people, you don't necessarily need a coach or a mentor to be successful, but you do have to define what success means for you. Because if you want a bunch of money, yeah, you might get lucky. You might be able to start something and you are self-made. But the amount of people who are self-made who do it by themselves are few and far between. More people are created because of other people. If we look at affluent families, the reason why the kids from those affluent families are also successful is not because the kid just grew up and they inherited everything from the parents. It's because the parents instilled them with the knowledge, the wisdom, the skills they needed in order to grow a business, in order to be successful, truly money, accolades, whatever you go for in life. That happens because there was some tutelage there. That happens was because there was some guidance there. And if you are struggling, if you think that this next big thing is going to be the answer, okay, it might be. But sometimes you have to ask, is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk to go alone? Is it worth the risk to keep trial and error your whole entire life? Your business can be something more than what it is today. Your life could be something more than what it is today. Sometimes you just have to dare. Sometimes you just have to say that I'm not afraid to invest in myself. It could be a good investment. It could be a bad investment, but we learn from our mistakes. And for the people who are willing to learn from their mistakes, they're going to be in a better place. And for the people who want to learn from other people's mistakes, they're going to be even in a better place than the people who just want to learn from their mistakes. You get to make that choice. What type of path are you going to go on? Are you going to go on the path of self-discovery by yourself? Or are you going to go on the path of self-discovery with people who understand and know how to get what you want in life? My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I'll see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.